All right, let's get right into it. I want you to imagine a top-secret government document, a plan that, if it was ever approved, would have involved staging terrorist attacks against innocent Americans right here on U.S. soil, all just to create an excuse for a war. And look, this isn't some Hollywood movie plot. This was a real proposal, drafted by the highest levels of the U.S. military, and it had a name: Operation Northwoods. This one sentence, taken right from those declassified documents, tells you everything you need to know about the horrifying logic of this plan. The whole point wasn't just to create some incident, it was to create American victims. They literally wanted to generate a helpful wave of national indignation, basically an outcry from the public so huge that it would demand the U.S. go to war.
So you have to ask, who on earth would come up with something like this? Well, the answer is what makes this story so unbelievable. It wasn't some foreign enemy. It wasn't a rogue agency. No, this plan was written, signed, and unanimously approved by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the most senior, most respected military leaders in the entire United States.
Now, to even begin to understand how this was possible, you've got to go back in time. We're talking about the early 1960s. The Cold War is at a fever pitch, and it really felt like the world was sitting on a powder keg. And right at the center of all that tension, a tiny island just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, Cuba. And things escalated so quickly. In 1959, Fidel Castro's revolution takes over Cuba. Just 2 years later, in '61, the CIA-backed Bay of Pigs invasion, which was supposed to overthrow him, fails miserably. It was a total disaster, a huge public humiliation for the U.S., and that failure, it lit a fire in Washington, creating this obsessive need to get rid of Castro, no matter what it took. So out of that desperation came something called Operation Mongoose. This was a massive, top-secret program involving the CIA, the Department of Defense, pretty much the whole shebang. And it had one single-minded goal: bring down Castro's government. Mongoose was the big umbrella project: sabotage, propaganda, you name it. Operation Northwoods was just one piece of it, arguably the most extreme and disturbing piece. So what was the actual plan? Well, the heart of the Northwoods document wasn't really a military strategy. It was a list of what they called pretexts, basically manufactured excuses, phony events, all designed to give the U.S. what looked like a legitimate reason to invade Cuba. They knew they needed a story that the American people would buy. And the strategy here was just pure, calculated deception. The plan itself says the goal was to make the U.S. look like the victim. They wanted it to seem like they were suffering these unprovoked attacks from a reckless Cuban government. That way, the U.S. could invade, and the rest of the world would see Cuba as the aggressor. And when you look at the specific ideas they came up with, it's just horrifying. I mean, this wasn't one single bad idea. It was